Well, hello and welcome to another hardcore Nuzlocke. Today I want to attempt a run of Pokemon HeartGold using only fire types. Fire types were pretty infamous in Generation 4. They got their infamy through the mainstream games Diamond and Pearl, where they only gave you two encounters, Chimchar and Ponyta. As a matter of fact, they added an Elite Four member that is fire type as well, and he too only had Rapidash and Infernape. The rest of his team consisted of Steelix, Drifblim, and Lopunny. All three are known as very strong fire types. As a matter of fact, Pokemon Heart Gold only actually has 4 encounters for us before the Elite Four. There is a way for us to get 2 more encounters that we will go through later, giving us a total of 6 before we beat the Elite Four. Fire types are notorious not only for not having a lot of encounters, but they don't have a lot of type coverage as well, as we found out in our Generation 3 runs, with Generation 4 adding the physical special split and access to different berries and different held items, as well as a few decent moves. I think this run is possible, however it is going to be difficult, but that's enough babbling, let's get into it. Since we're using the fire types, we get to choose an actual starter, Cyndaquil. My very first playthrough ever of Pokemon Silver, Totodile was the choice that I made. I thought a water type would be good to get through the game. Water types are the most abundant type. I should have chosen something else. I eventually learned that Chikorita is not a great Pokemon in Gen 2. Don't come at me in the comments. I'm saying in Generation 2, in Gold and Silver, and in Crystal, it is a terrible Pokemon. I don't care what you say. After my initial run, I started again and we used Cyndaquil. And then I never used any other starter outside of Cyndaquil for the rest of the time. I don't know how many runs I've done of that game, 100 maybe? Probably not, but a lot. Nonetheless, when playing through the remakes of this game, it just brings a bunch of nostalgia to me. I love these games so much, and Generation 2 is what got me through a very rough patch of my life, as we've talked about before. Had a pretty rough childhood, and it all did come to a very nice end, quote unquote. My life's not over, but the bad parts are. And just know, if you're having a rough time in your life, or you had a rough start in your childhood, it's not the end of things. There are brighter roads ahead. Unfortunately, sometimes you have to put in some serious work to make that possible, but it is very doable. And as is with anything in life, if you're ever finding yourself struggling or don't really know what to do, don't know which step to take, reach out. Talk to somebody. There's so many avenues nowadays for people to find help, to get help. It's so much more amazing than when I was a kid, because the first thing they do when they put you into foster care is they put you into therapy, but that therapy wasn't there necessarily to help with any problems as it was to build a case against my parent. Believe it or not, that's truly what they were doing, because there were things that were said only after they were discussed, because mandatory reporting, right? Nonetheless, the world has changed and things have been different. I truly do believe that if you put good out, good will come back to you, and if you put negative, negative will come back out to you. Basic principles of karma. Again, if you're ever finding yourself struggling, please reach out. I will sit and listen to somebody, as opposed to hearing about it later on in the news. I just want to put that forward. You guys are amazing. Every single one of you that I've interacted with throughout my channels on YouTube and in Discords and things like that, it's always been so much fun. There have been some great people. Of course, we've had a couple of knuckleheads, but such is life, right? So our starter Cyndaquil I named Apollo. It has a mild plus special attack and minus defense nature, and apparently it's mischievous. Fits the bill. I will take the plus special attack. Minus to stats is never good, especially defense, but I'm not going to get a modest Cyndaquil. Nonetheless, there is a name theme, as is with every single run I do, so if you can guess the name theme, put it in the comments below. And we were tricked into selling out the young red-haired man that we fought on the road. I'm not a snitch, but we named him Algo, right? Because algorithm, that's what we're trying to beat, both in-game and in real life. If you guys want to help me beat the algorithm in real life, you can do so by liking the video, commenting, subscribing to the channel, and that's all I'm going to say about it, because the last time I dove into a little bit more depth, I was told in a comment that I'm being a big YouTuber and fishing for subscriptions, and I was cringe and all this other stuff. Go watch the last video and check the comments. You'll see the comment I'm talking about. I don't mind those type of comments. It's interaction and YouTube loves it, but it's just funny. If I'm not supposed to fish for subscriptions and I'm not supposed to try to grow the channel, what am I supposed to do? As a matter of fact, I'm sorry guys, don't watch my videos, don't like the video, don't comment, and please, whatever you do, do not subscribe to the channel. I really hope this doesn't push me over 1,000 subscribers. Oh, geez. Anyway, always talk to your mom in HeartGold and Soul Silver. Have her save money for you. She will get you berries, the super effective weakening berries. She can get you a couple of really good held items. Your mom is key to winning some of these runs. As I said before, there are 4 encounters here in Johto and 2 that we can get post-game. There's actually 4 we can get post-game, making a total of 8 encounters. But to get a full team, we can actually talk to this guy right here, Primo. We need our trainer ID number that we can find on the back of our trainer card, 32312. We write that down, and we can actually go to a website, a Primo code generation website. I don't know how to describe it, but there are predetermined things that we can say to this guy to get our hands on another encounter so that we don't have to wait till the post game. If we go to this website and we type in the game, we type in our trainer ID, it will give us a bunch of different things to where we can get a few different eggs from him. There are 3 eggs we can get: Mareep, Whooper, and Slugma. That's what we're after, the Slugma egg. What I really want to figure out is, how do I actually type in what he said? You can also get like 8 different backgrounds for the PC as well, depending on what you... Service? What? Yeah, I've never really done this before. I just know it's a thing that you can do. There we go. We got the Slugma egg. I could have watched a video probably on how to input the sayings to Primo, but we got the Slugma egg nonetheless. We need this encounter before we go do the first gym. It's going to be imperative. So the next thing that we need to do is run around like crazy through Violet Town and hatch the egg. But before we do that, dealing with Primo, once you get the phrases that you need, you have to input them in. One of our phrases is Fire Talk, and then Rain Dish, Sandstream. So we have to find the fire, which I went into Pokemon and just clicked on that by mistake. That's not what I wanted. There we go, there is fire, and now we have to find talk. And I really don't know where these are at. Like, Rain Dish and Sandstream are actually in the status thing, which doesn't make sense to me, but that's fine. Down here should be, yeah, there we go. There's Fire Talk, so there's our first phrase. Now we confirm it. Yeah, you like it. You like it. Now we come in here and we go to status, and we're going to go down to Rain Dish, and then we're going to go to Sandstream, because we can unlock for us a different background in the box, which I think is pretty neat. Again, as I said, there are 3 different eggs we can get in like 8 different backgrounds. I'm not going to unlock all of them. I just wanted to show you guys how this works. Once we type that in, bam, you're no ordinary fan, you're a trainer, blah, blah, blah. He'll get some stuff for us, and there we go. Now, I sped through that, so I didn't really see what he said. It doesn't matter. We're going to go into the PC, and we can change the wallpaper. Now, I do fumble with this a little bit because I don't know what I'm looking for, because I've never really looked at the box wallpapers, but eventually we see that the revival is what we are looking for. And that changes our background screen to the rocket screen, which is so cool. We named our Slugma Surya, and it has a lonely plus attack, minus defense and nature. It's alert to sounds. This Pokemon is super imperative that we got. It has the Flame Body ability. A plus attack is going to help us early game, but later on we're going to have nothing but special attacks. So what I want to do is switch train this thing and EV train it. Probably going to the Pokemon Tower at night to fight wild Ghastlies, maybe going to the Ruins of Alph and fighting unknowns that give +1 to attack and special attack is the better way to go, but nonetheless, it's time to do some training. And apparently I got Pokerus. This is the first time this has ever happened. It's like a 1 in 21,800 and something chance. I have a better chance of seeing 3 shinies than getting Pokerus, and what I know about it is it doubles our EV gain. I think it only lasts like 24 hours of real time because this game tracks real time. So doubling our effort values is amazing. We went to the Ruins of Alph and started training up Surya there to gain attack and special attack EVs. What I need to do is go beat Faulkner, get the Togepi egg, hatch it, give it Pokerus, and put it in the box. Because in the box, it's not going to lose the Pokerus status or be cured. And this way we can infect the rest of our team. We need to do that. We absolutely need to do that. It's just going to make things easy for us in the long run. So against Faulkner, Surya is leading the charge. Surya was on our team back in our run of Pokemon Emerald, and it never did anything. It literally sat there just in case I needed fodder. I did forget to go heal. Anyway, this Pokemon is going to be invaluable on the team. It is slow, and we are going to get outsped, and we did get hit with a sand attack, which is very annoying, but we one-shot the Pidgey with a rock throw. That's amazing. Again, as I said, we are slow, so going up against the Pidgeotto, it outspeeds us and hits us with a tackle, but that activates our Flame Body ability, burning the Pidgeotto. You stack the burn damage with a super effective rock throw, and it looks like we're doing just about half of its health. Unfortunately, it goes for Roost the next turn, and Roost not only heals it up, but also gets rid of its flying type for 1 turn, so our next rock throw doesn't do much. Combine that with 2 burn damage, and we only do about 1/3. We get hit with a gust, down to berry healing range. I did get an Oran Berry off of Wild Centrets. I've done that many times before. We miss another attack, and Pidgeotto heals itself up with Roost all the way. Gust is doing some serious damage, taking us down to about half health, and it's at this point I don't want to lose Surya just yet, so we need to swap. Out comes Apollo on a Gust, doesn't do much damage, and Pidgeotto is down to about 2/3 health with burn damage. We fire off an Ember that takes it down to 1/3, and we get hit with another Gust. Burn damage takes it to a Sliver, and there's no heal. We outspeed and finish it off with 1 more Ember. The Pokemon Center actually tells you that your Pokemon have Pokerus the first time you visit it after getting Pokerus, and it tells you that they're just microscopic life forms that attach to Pokemon, and it says that Pokemon grow exceptionally well. It's not that scary, but if you didn't know what Pokerus was, I would be a little concerned, like, hey, are these Pokemon okay? Are they going to actually die? Like, do I have to go to Lavender Town? I don't know. Nonetheless, I need to hatch this Togepi egg and infect another Pokemon. Now, as I'm in here in the Slowpoke well battling Team Rocket, a couple of things that we have to deal with. The lack of type coverage moves is a huge thing, but it is manageable. The other thing that we have to worry about, at least until after we beat Whitney, is experience point management. Our level cap is 17 for Bugsy, it's 19 for Whitney, and we can very easily overlevel. If I overlevel either one of these Pokemon before I fight Bugsy, I don't honestly think I can win. So, I found on Route 32 and Route 33 you can actually avoid all the trainers. You can avoid the trainers in Union Cave as well, and I managed to make it down here at a very low level with Quilava. I did some more EV training with Surya in the Ruins of Alph just to gain it a little bit more of an edge against Bugsy, because we're going to use it. It's crazy that this Pokemon was never really on the team, and now it's becoming an invaluable member of the team. These are things that we have to deal with. I think it's very doable, and we don't have to battle all of the gym trainers in Bugsy's gym or Whitney's gym either, so this is a very doable thing. It's just something that we have to worry about. Against Bugsy, I need a couple of things to happen. I need Scyther to cooperate, and I need Rock Throws to connect. However, Turn 1, I'm not going to go for Rock Throw. I do get outsped and tagged with Leer, which is very scary because Scyther has Technician and Quick Attack. But we tag it with a Yawn, which was the whole plan. Bugsy then decides to throw the battle by going for Focus Energy. We actually connect with a Rock Throw, which is super amazing because it's quad weak to it and it does 3/4 of its health. The Citrus Berry pulls it out of any kind of healing range. What is amazing is Scyther goes to sleep, and the next turn Scyther stays asleep, and we do connect with our Rock Throw, winning us a fairly easy Scyther battle. That's it, game over. Metapod comes out, and we take it out with a single Ember, and Kakuna comes out, and it too falls to a single Ember, winning us a second Gym Badge. The scariest battle that we are going to have early game is against our rival Algo as we are leaving Azalea Town. His Ghastly? Not scary. His Zubat? Not scary. His Croconaw? Very scary. We managed to take the Ghastly down with a couple of Embers. It just hit us with a mean look, so no big deal, and out comes Croconaw. It's going for Scary Face. I don't know why. It outspeeds us nonetheless. And we tag it with a Yawn. I need this thing to go to sleep, and then we need to start setting up. I decide to swap into Apollo before it can do any damage, and still just going for Scary Face. Croconaw falls asleep, and I start tagging it with smoke screens. Of course, it immediately wakes up and hits us with another Scary Face, but we manage to get off a second smoke screen. I then decide to swap back into Surya, who gets hit with a water gun on the swap, and it does significant amount of damage, and luckily for us, Croconaw misses its next water gun. Had it hit, it would have knocked us out. I do tag Croconaw with another Yawn, and we swap back into Apollo, who gets hit with a water gun on the switch. Croconaw then falls asleep, and now we can start hitting this thing with some Leers to lower its defense. We manage to get off 3 Leers, and Croconaw wakes up. It misses an attack. We get off a 4th Leer, and we start hitting this thing with quick attacks. It does about 1/3 of its health. A second one hits and takes it down to about 1/3. It just misses its next attack, and we finish it off with one more quick attack. Ooh, that could have gone a lot worse. Very, very scary. Zubat can't do anything to us, so we hit it with an Ember, and it burns it. It hits us with a Bite, and we take it out with one more Ember. Now that we're in Goldenrod, the first thing that I do is head to the top of the department store on the 5th floor. We can buy a couple of different great TMs. TM83 is Natural Gift. We can get our hands on Fire Blast and Solar Beam as well. I'm not necessarily going to be able to buy these yet, but these are TMs that we can get, and this is just the first stop of many things that we can do to better our team now that we are in Goldenrod. The other thing that we can do is play an exorbitant amount of Voltorb Flip and get our hands on some coins so that we can get a few Flamethrower TMs, at least 2 at some point, and a Zoom Lens is what I want from this interaction here. So, to the grind. I did enough grinding to get my hands on a Zoom Lens, and then we took a little bit of a break. I'm going to go ahead and battle Whitney. We did go battle some trainers and get some more money, and we bought the Fire Blast TM. Combine that with the Zoom Lens, and this is a fairly accurate, very strong fire move that cleanly one-shots the Clefairy. Out comes Miltank, and we don't outspeed, which is terrible because we can get flinched with Stomp. Luckily for us, we don't on turn 1, and Fire Blast does some serious damage, doing well over half of Miltank's health. Miltank doesn't have a Citrus Berry, it has a Lumberry. Next turn, we get hit with Stomp, and we do get flinched. That is very, very scary. We get hit with another Stomp, down to 1 HP, but we connect with a Fire Blast, winning us the 3rd Gym Badge. Ooh, wow. That was scary. Professor Elm also calls you talking about Pokerus. Apparently there's something called Pokerus that affects Pokemon. Yeah, it's like a virus, so it's called Pokerus. Real inventive. It multiplies fast and affects other Pokemon, but that's all. That's scary to tell a young trainer. It doesn't seem to do anything and it goes away over time. Okay, I'm less scared. I guess it's nothing to worry about then. Why'd you call me? After beating Whitney and getting some watts with our Pokewalker, unlocking the rugged path, we can get Lou the Ponyta. It has a quirky neutral nature, and unfortunately it has Runaway instead of Flash Fire, but that's okay. It is another encounter nonetheless. We don't have to worry about experience so much. On Route 36, we can get our hands on Raw the Growlithe. It has a naughty plus attack minus special defense nature. I will take it. It has Intimidate. And we infected it with Pokerus. Oh my goodness, we are coming into our own. We need to go to the Pokemon Center and Ecruteak. There's a lot of things for us to do, but this is the first one. We need to talk to Bill, so he heads back to Goldenrod so we can get our hands on an Eevee. From there, we need to get a Firestone so we can evolve that thing into a Flareon. It is another encounter. Luckily for us, this is a very hard encounter to miss. You're going to go to the Pokemon Center. There are a ton of things to do in Ecruteak City now that we are here. We can head into the Burn Tower. We need to battle our rival in here, and our next encounter is in the basement, a Magmar. We did go to the Dance Theater and battle the Kimono Girls, and we can also go get the HM for Surf. But before we do any of that, we're going to head over to Route 38 because there is a specific trainer that we need to battle. And that trainer is School Kid Chad. This person right here will take our phone number at the end of the battle and has a potential to give us different evolutionary stones. I normally don't take anybody's number because I don't need the phone calls. My mother is annoying enough trying to call me every other second and tell me how she spent my money. There's nothing crazy about this battle. He just has a Mr. Mime that we can take down very easy with Lou here that we have been switch training and now training up very, very well. Couple of flamethrowers, take it down, and now we can get our hands on a phone number and hopefully Firestone. In the original Gold and Silver games, the rival was in a different location and you didn't have to battle him. You didn't have to do the events of the Burn Tower at all, but to get our next encounter and get Morty back in the gym, we have to go through Algo. I lead with Raw against his Ghastly because it knows Bite. And the Crocodile that's going to come out next, we're set up for very well in my opinion. I'm not as worried about this battle as I was the one in Azalea, but things could go sideways fast. We do have the move Natural Gift, which does damage based on the berry you're holding, and I'm holding a Pecha Berry, so it's going to do an electric type attack. Unfortunately, it only does about half, and we get hit with Scary Face. Which means next turn we are outsped, but fortunately for us, Crocodile just goes for another Scary Face, which misses. I decide to go for Bite, and it doesn't quite do half of the remaining half of the health. We do get hit with a Water Gun, and it takes us all the way down to 22 HP, whereas if that would have crit, it would have KO'd us. I go for Dig. We pop up and knock out the Crocodile, which is awesome. That is the big threat out of our way. Later on, Feraligatr is a formidable foe, especially with the physical special split. Now as Zubat comes out, because of our low health, I swap into Surya, who dodges a Supersonic on the swap in. Unfortunately, we are slow and get outsped and tagged with a Supersonic next turn, but luckily for us, we do break through and land a super effective Rock Throw for a little over a half, I'd say 5/8 of its health. We then get hit with a Wing Attack, and unfortunately this time we do not break through Confusion and we do hurt ourselves. I decide to swap. I don't want to risk losing any Pokemon, so out comes Apollo to clean up the battle. We do get hit with a Wing Attack on the swap in, and then we take the Zubat out with a Fire Blast. Last for Algo is his Magnemite, which goes down to a single Fire Blast, and that is our rival defeated. Which means we can get ourselves a Magmar we named Mithra. It has a modest plus special attack minus attack nature. That's pretty good. Now you can go either way with Magmar here. We could make it a physical attacker or a special attacker, but I have plans for this thing in the future, and its special attack is significantly higher base stat wise. Welcome to the team, Mithra. Now I'm not doing anything in any specific order. As soon as you see Bill in the Ecruteak Pokemon Center, he comes back to Goldenrod so you can backtrack and talk to him. He does give us an Eevee, and with a Firestone, it will be a viable member on the team. We name our new EV Inti. It has a sassy plus special defense minus speed nature. That's not great, but Flareon is going to round out our team as soon as we can get our hands on a Firestone. We could go over to the Pokeathlon, but I've done a lot of grinding so far. Ra has been a tremendous Pokemon throughout the entirety of this gym with her super effective bites, so against Leader Morty, we're going to do the same. Ghastly comes out and we one-shot it with a single bite, and next for him is his ace Gengar. A little worried about this Pokemon because it can hit very hard. We do get outsped turn 1 and hit with Hypnosis, but I was smart enough to equip a Lumberry for this exact moment. You never really know what Gengar is going to go for. Hypnosis, Confuse Ray, doesn't matter. Bite does about 3/4 of its health, and then it heals up with a Citrus Berry. Morty decides he doesn't want to win this battle and goes for Mean Look the next turn, so a follow-up bite takes out the Gengar. His lower level Haunter then comes out, and it falls to a single bite. His slightly higher leveled Haunter then comes out, and it too falls to a single bite, and that was a very easy 4th gym. It's weird to me that Jasmine locks herself in the top of the lighthouse to where nobody can get easy access. You have to climb through the entirety of it to get through here, and then she just unlocks the door when you're willing to help. Why don't you go do it yourself? Why do you leave it up to a child? I mean, this is Pokemon, right? It's normal for Pokemon. On routes 40 and 41 heading out of Olivine, we avoided all of the trainers to get here to this gym. I am very worried about Chuck because Primeape has super effective Rock Slide and Poliwrath has Surf. I lead with Raw to get that Intimidate drop, that was planned, and I do have a plan for this battle. I immediately swap into Surya, and Primeape just goes for Double Team. We of course do get outsped and Primeape goes for Double Team again, but Surya breaks through that +2 evasion and to hit it with a flamethrower that does well over half. Primeape is then going for Focus Punch, which is random, and we take it out with one more flamethrower. Nice, no damage taken. Poliwrath comes out, and this is where things get interesting. I'm very nervous about this battle, but I want to put this thing to sleep. It hits us with a Body Slam that of course activates our Flame Body and burns this thing, so now we can't put it to sleep. But the burn does have its attack, so that is awesome. I then swap into Mithra, who gets hit with a Body Slam, and of course it paralyzes us. Of course. Poliwrath hits us with another Body Slam, and I stay paralyzed because why wouldn't I? Luckily the burn is doing some chip damage. Poliwrath then is starting to go for Focus Punch, so I confuse it. Poliwrath then hits itself in confusion, which is amazing. We get it down low enough where its berry finally activates, and it's at this point that I need to swap out, so I swap into Raw just to get that little bit of Intimidate drop. Now it's very low on attack power because we get hit with a Focus Punch that still does some serious damage despite the lowered attack. I then fire off an electric type natural gift, and it takes Poliwrath down to a sliver of health. Poliwrath is confused and it goes for Hypnosis, which misses, and the burn damage takes it out, winning the 5th gym. Wow. I never really noticed that this tree right next to the little radio house where the rockets are doing their crazy experiments is a fake tree. I mean, you can clearly see this is a fake tree. Never noticed this before. To be fair, this is only like my 5th playthrough of this game ever. The Lake of Rage has some great gifts, the first one being the choice specs. In the house north of the Lake of Rage, we can talk to this guy and get TM10 Hidden Power, which is wonderful because one of our Pokemon has a great hidden power. And then after dealing with the red Gyarados, we take the red scale back to Mr. Pokemon so we can trade it for the experience share, which is going to help us raise Inti up by level without having to do some switch training. Well, I decided to do the grind at the Pokeathlon to get my hands on a Firestone. I'm going to use this first Firestone here to evolve Inti into a Flareon. Ra is eventually going to be an Arcanine, but right now, I just need it to stay a Growlithe. It's not a great Pokemon at its unevolved form. It is kind of weak. Once it evolves into Arcanine, it is very beastly, but we now have Inti the Flareon completing the team. I have kept Flareon at a very low level. NT is at level 5. So that we can learn Ember here in a couple of levels, and the experience share is going to come in very handy. I know that Price is technically not the next gym leader in line, but by level cap, he has a slightly lower level cap than Jasmine, so we're battling him next. His team is pretty weird. He has Seal, who's a pure water type, then he has a water ice type in Dugong, and Piloswine is ground ice, so we have super effective moves into some of his Pokemon, but not all. Stomp doesn't quite do half, and it doesn't flinch, so Seal sets up the Hail. The Hail is annoying because it's going to do chip damage to us, but it's also going to do chip damage to Seal, meaning our follow-up Stomp is enough to take it out. That brings out Piloswine. We hit Piloswine with a very strong flamethrower that leaves it with a little bit of red health, and we get the burn, but his ace Piloswine does have a Citrus Berry. We get hit with a nasty Mud Bomb down to 30 HP, and after the chip damage from Hail, we're sitting at 25 HP. One more Flamethrower takes out his ace, and that brings out Dugong. We're pretty low on health when the Dugong comes out, so I decide to swap into Ra, who gets hit with an Aurora Beam as soon as it comes in. The Hail does stop, which is awesome. I decide to fire off Natural Gift with a Pecha Berry, and it does 5/8 of its health, and we get hit with another Aurora Beam, but this one drops our attack. That's not good. I then decide to go for Dig, and Dugong goes for Rest. Dig does pathetic damage, and Dugong has Sleep Talk, which is annoying. Sleep Talk randomly picks one of your moves to use, so we get hit with another Aurora Beam, down to half HP, and another attack drop. We have to swap. There's nothing else that we can do. We're doing pitiful damage. So I bring in the next best thing, Surya the Slugma, the legend, the beast. Dugong stays asleep, uses Sleep Talk, and Aurora Beams us for very minimal damage, and I fire off a very hard Ancient Power that crits, one-shots, winning us the 6th, air quote, gym badge. We of course immediately head back to Olivine to take on Jasmine, the Steel type gym leader. We have a super effective attack in every one of our Pokemon, so I'm not worried about this battle at all. I am going to lead with Apollo that has a held Zoom Lens and Fire Blast. Hopefully they all connect. We do one-shot her first Magnemite with a single Fire Blast, and she sends out her ace, Steelix. Luckily for us, Fire Blast connects, and it does one-shot the Steelix, bringing out her last Magnemite, which of course is going to go down to a single Fire Blast, a very easy 7th, quote, gym badge. I gotta say, Mithra looks cool as a Team Rocket Pokemon. Am I wrong? Like, seriously. Seriously, this fits right here. This is a whole vibe. I swear. Doing some training in the Rocket Hideout, we have an amazing evolution. Apollo is finally evolving into a beastly Typhlosion, and we're going to start getting some heavy evolutions on our team this point forward. I'm very excited to start evolving these Pokemon. They have been great, but we're starting to get outclassed as trainers have fully evolved Pokemon. And one of the biggest reasons that we've been working on Apollo so hard is against Petrol here. His Pokemon all know self-destruct, and his Weezing knows explosion. So I need to take out his entire team, and we did just learn Lava Plume, which one-shots the Coughings, and Fire Blast connected to take out the Weezing, so we don't have to worry about these guys going boom, but this is a very scary battle in any Nuzlocke nonetheless. We were prepared, and we made it through. In the basement of the Team Rocket hideout, we have another battle with our rival Algorithm. Now I'm leading with Lou in this battle because Lou has a slightly higher attack than Ra does, so Natural Gift is going to do more damage. I do go for the special move at Flamethrower turn 1, however, and it doesn't quite KO the Golbat, so we have to tank an Air Cutter to the face before we can take it out with a follow-up Flamethrower. This brings out Feraligatr, and even as this thing comes out, it just looks ferocious, and I am nervous. I do fire off an Electric-type Natural Gift, and it doesn't KO the Feraligatr, but it does leave it deep into red health. Now, even being 8 levels higher than Feraligatr and a very weak move like Water Gun, it still does significant damage, almost not wiping us out. If it had crit, it would have one-shot us. I do go for Flamethrower because it's a more accurate move to take out the Feraligatr, and the rest of the team should be relatively easy. He sends out Magnemite, so we take it out with a Flamethrower with Lu. He then sends out Haunters, so I decide to swap into Inti, who takes a Shadow Ball to the face, and then fires back with its own Shadow Ball to one-shot the Haunter. This brings out his last Pokemon, Sneasel. Unfortunately, all we know is Ember, so we take a Feint Attack that does decent damage, and Ember would two-shot it, but since we're low on health, I then swap into Ra, who takes a Feint Attack on the swap in, and takes out the Sneasel with a Fire Fang. After defeating Team Rocket, we need to talk to this lady on the 3rd floor because she gives us TM11 Sunny Day. This is a very important move that is going on Apollo ASAP. The 8th and final gym leader, Claire, the Dragon Master, has been a battle I have been scared about and nervous about since the beginning of the run. Her lead Gyarados has nothing that it can do against us as far as water type attacks. The best it can do is Dragon Rage. My plan is to soak up the Intimidate with Apollo and then set up the Sun. The Sun is not for Gyarados, it is of course for her Kingdra and her Dragonair. We get hit with a Dragon Rage for a cool 40 damage, and then we implement part 2 of our plan, swapping to Lu. We take a Dragon Rage to the face as we swap in, and we fire off an Electric type Natural Gift, one-shotting the Gyarados, ridding ourselves of one of 3 major hurdles. She then of course sends out her ace Kingdra. We hit it with a return that does decent damage, and because the sun is up, Kingdra goes for Dragon Pulse, and it leaves us on on a sliver of health. Oh my goodness, thank you so much for holding on, Lu. I cannot afford to lose a single Pokemon. I then swap into Mithra, we have to, and we take a Dragon Pulse to the face. This takes us down to 79 HP, but Mithra has hidden power, and it has a hidden power dragon. So we fire one off, and unfortunately, dang, it doesn't KO the Kingdra. Citrus Berry activates, pulling it out of healing range, which is great. Luckily for us, we have a Pasho Berry from our mom. The sun did fade, so we can tank this Hydro Pump. Hopefully? Ooh. 16 HP, which means we can fire off another hidden power, and we can take out the 2nd hurdle of this battle. That is 2 major hurdles out of the way, and only 1 more to go. Out comes her next Dragonair, and of course we're at too low of health, so I swap into Apollo, who takes a very weak Slam. I decide to set up the Sun because this Dragonair has Aqua Tail, at least I think it does, and of course it goes for Aqua Tail next turn. With the Sun up and the Pasho Berry, it doesn't do a lot of damage, so I decide to go ahead and hit this thing with the Solar Beam to see what kind of damage it does, and Solar Beam does about a third. We then get tagged with a Thunder Wave, which is immensely annoying, so I swap into Raw. That Intimidate drop is going to help out a little bit with the Aqua Tails. We then take a special Dragon Pulse to the face that does just under half of our health. That is annoyingly annoying. I then go for Dig. Dig takes it down to red health. Of course it doesn't KO it, and we live on 1 HP from another Dragon Pulse. This is getting too much. My heart can't take this. I then swap into Inti as Claire uses a Hyper Potion. I go for Shadow Ball the next turn. It does not a lot of damage. About a third. And we of course get hit with a Thunder Wave. So Dragonair then hits us with an Aqua Tail. We have a Pasho Berry on all of our Pokemon to weaken it for now, because the sun is not up and I cannot set it up. We hit Dragonair with 1 more Shadow Ball that takes it back into red health. Claire is out of potions. We have to tank this Aqua Tail. Can we do it? Inti is proving to be a pretty bulky Pokemon. 1 more Shadow Ball takes out the Dragonair. As soon as her second Dragonair comes out, her last Pokemon we have to swap, and the only Pokemon I have with any health remaining is Surya. We swap into a very weak Slam. We resist because of our newfound dual-type Rock-Fire. Dragonair then hits us with a Thunder Wave, which is annoying, but we break through Paralysis to tag Dragonair with a Yawn. That's awesome. We then tank a Dragon Pulse fairly well, and we use Ancient Power that does a decent amount of damage down to just over half health, and Dragonair falls asleep. It stays asleep turn 1, and I go for a resisted Flamethrower for a bit of chip damage because I was wrong. Claire does have one more potion, which she of course uses right now. It is a full restore, so fully healed and fully awake. We hit it with another Ancient Power that gets a critical hit down to a sliver of health. We then get hit with a Dragon Pulse down to 28 HP, and one more Ancient Power can win us this very, very nerve-wracking 8th and final gym. We made it out with 0 deaths. And if we take a look at the team after the battle, this is making me very nervous for what's to come after the Elite Four, the champion battle with Lance. Oh boy. So there are a few things that we have to do before we can take on the Elite Four, one of which is the Kimono Girls. The Kimono Girls we have to battle back to back to back 5 times. They all have evolutions, and it is quite dangerous. Whatever your lead Pokemon is your lead Pokemon, and then that's it. There's no healing, there's no nothing. So we led with Lou because Lou is in place for the Vaporeon, which can be very dangerous. It can outspeed us, it has super effective moves. Her Umbreon, as you saw, was very tanky. It confused us and did drop us very low in health. Espeon is super fast and hits like a truck. Luckily, we can tank a couple of Psychics, and we added a Citrus Berry just in case. That's how we survived that battle, but a critical hit would have taken us out. Flareon and Jolteon we have answers into fairly well, but this is just one of those things that is something I normally don't show, but it is a very dangerous battle that if we're not prepared for, can easily go sideways and we could easily lose a team member. 2 Ancient Powers take out the Flareon. I believe next up is the Jolteon, and then the final Pokemon is Vaporeon. Jolteon, we can bring in Raw, who hasn't evolved yet. I'm still waiting for some level up moves. And Jolteon is going for Double Team, which is quite annoying because it gets off 3, but we connect with a super effective Dig to take it out. That leaves just Vaporeon, and the whole reason I was doing some training with Lou to get it to learn Flare Blitz. It's the whole reason it is up front is because of its natural gift, which doesn't quite take out the Vaporeon, but we can take a single Surf and then hit a return for the KO. And then of course we have to make our way to the top of the Tin Tower and fight Ho-Oh. Now there are a couple of different things you can do here. You can fight it, you can run from it, we can catch it, which I'm going to catch it. It is a fire type. We're not going to use it on the team. If we take this thing to the Ruins of Alph, we can get our hands on a second Charcoal. That's the whole reason we caught it. Leaving Victory Road, we have one more battle with our rival Algo. At this point, we're going to set up a Sunny Day against his Sneasel and then take it out with a single Flamethrower, and this puts us in perfect position with our moveset to take out the Feraligatr with a single Solar Beam. This last rival battle here in Victory Road, I am not scared of it at all. Magneton goes down to a single Flamethrower. The help of Sunny Day has been amazing. Haunter goes down in a single Flamethrower as well. Kadabra 2 falls to a single Flamethrower despite its high special defense. And last is Golbat. His team never stood a chance. So here is the team leveled up to level 47 to match Karen's ace Pokemon. We have Inti, the Flareon with Bite, Flamethrower, Shadow Ball, and Sand Attack. Lou, the Rapidash with Flare Blitz, Return, Bounce, and Natural Gift. Mithra, the Magmar with Flamethrower, Feint Attack, Confuse Ray, and Hidden Power Dragon. Next we have Raw, the Growlithe with Crunch, Firefang, Dig, and Aerial Ace. I haven't evolved him yet. I do have a Firestone, but I want him to get to level 48 to learn Flare Blitz, and then we will evolve Raw. Rounding out the team, we have Surya, the Magcar Go, with Flamethrower, Recover, Yawn, and Ancient Power. And last, but certainly not least, Apollo, the Typhlosion, with Focus Blast, Flamethrower, Solar Beam, and Sunny Day. Now, originally my plan for Will was to use Raw and Crunch, but I want to get this thing Flare Blitz, and it's not evolved yet, so I decided to go with Inti, that has super effective Shadow Ball. Inti hasn't seen a lot of screen time. It has done some marvelous work off camera, and in this battle, he's truly going to shine. As a matter of fact, a single Shadow Ball is enough to take out Will's lead Xatu, and that brings out Slowbro, which I was a little scared about. Slowbro is pretty bulky, and it has the super effective move Water Pulse. We fire off a Shadow Ball, and it does about 3/4 of its health, and Slowbro just goes for Amnesia, which is annoying because that raises its special defense by 2 stages, and then of course Will uses a full restore the next turn. That does give us a chance to fire off back-to-back Shadow Balls, bringing Slowbro back down to about a 1/3 health, and Slowbro just goes for Curse, so we can knock it out with 1 more Shadow Ball. Out comes Executor. It is weak to fire, so we're going to use a Stab super effective Flamethrower to one-shot it. Up next is Jinx, and the same thing, it is weak to fire, so a Stab super effective Flamethrower takes it out, and that leaves Will's ace, Xatu. Xatu gets hit with a Shadow Ball that it tanks on a sliver, just a sliver of health, and we get the special defense drop, which is amazing because if Will heals up with another full restore, we can one-shot it. Citrus Berry activates, however, pulling this thing out of healing range. We get hit for the first time in the battle with a Psychic, and 1 more Shadow Ball wins us the first Elite Four battle. For Koga, our plan was always to lead with Surya. Mag Cargo has proven that it is invaluable in this run. We could not have gotten this far. His lead Gyarados we do outspeed in one-shot with a single Flamethrower. Out comes Fortress. I do have the Quick Claw activated and it procs against the Fortress, allowing us to outspeed, but I think we would have outsped nonetheless. We do take it out with a quad stab super effective Flamethrower. Out comes Venomoth. Unfortunately, we don't get the Quick Claw proc, and it hits us with a pretty meh Psychic. Flamethrower does one-shot it, and out comes Muck. Muck is the only Pokemon on Koga's team that Surya doesn't have a super effective move against, but I fire off a Stab Flamethrower nonetheless, and it does just about a half. He's going for Gunk Shot, which misses, but he has the Black Sludge held item, so it heals up a little bit of health, taking it out of a 2-shot range. Another Flamethrower takes Muck deep into the red health, and he fires off a Gunk Shot. Though Gunk Shot is resisted, it still does a pretty decent amount of damage, and then of course Black Sludge takes him up a little bit, and then Koga decides to go for a full restore. I then hit it with a Flamethrower back down to half health, and then we fire off an Ancient Power for some chip damage that gets a crit and defeats the Muck. Perfect. We're sitting at just half health as Crobat comes out, and there's nothing Crobat can really do to us other than poison us. I'm hoping for a Quick Claw proc, but we don't get it. It just goes for Double Team, and we smash it very hard with an Ancient Power deep into the red health. Citrus Berry activates, pulling it out of healing range. It hits us with a resisted wing attack down to 48 HP, and we connect with 1 more Ancient Power to beat Koga, winning the second Elite Four fight. Against Bruno, we lead with our newly evolved Arcanine Raw. We did teach it the Aerial Ace TM, so we are ready for this battle. Hitmontop can be a little bit dangerous. We do get the Intimidate drop, which is awesome. It has counter, it has the super effective move Dig. It should go for Dig, so I'm gonna go for Aerial Ace, hoping for the best. And luckily for us, we get a critical hit, knocking it out. I'm pretty sure that crit did matter. Out next is Bruno's Onix. It has the super effective move Earthquake, so I pivot into Lou, who tanks the Earthquake very well, down to 58 HP. I think if that crit, it would have one-shot us, but we have a water type quad super effective natural gift that cleanly one-shots the Onix. Out comes Machamp, and I decide to swap into Surya, and that was a misclick. I meant to click on Mithra to try to get the Flame Body proc as Machamp goes for revenge, and I don't know if that would have worked. I'm pretty sure that's a contact move, but we are weak to fighting type moves. So if that had crit, we would have lost Surya. I then swap into Raw to get the Intimidate drop. Revenge doesn't do much to us, and we fire off an Aerial Ace that crits the Machamp, one-shotting it. Hitmonlee then comes out, and we cleanly one-shot it with Aerial Ace, and last for Bruno is his Hitmonchan, and rather than risk not KOing this thing, I go for the stab move, Flare Blitz. One-shotting the Hitmonchan, winning us the third Elite Four battle. For Karen, my plan is to lead with Apollo. We taught it the Focus Blast TM, and with the Zoom Lens, hopefully it isn't Focus Miss. It is a 70% accurate move, it has limited power points, so this could be an interesting battle. We do connect with a Focus Blast on the first turn, but unfortunately for us, Umbreon is super bulky, so it sits on a sliver of red health as it sets up a double team. Karen then goes for a full restore, of course she does, and I decide to go for Flamethrower for some chip damage, but Flamethrower does right about half. So I click Flamethrower the next turn, and she preemptively swaps into Houndoom that has Flash Fire, so we up its fire type moves. I then connect with another Focus Blast, luckily to take out the Ace Houndoom in a single shot. This brings out her Gengar, who we hit with a Flamethrower deep into red health as well, and it just goes for Spite. Surprisingly, Karen doesn't heal, so another Flamethrower takes out the Gengar, and out comes Vileplume. Vileplume, of course, goes down to a single Flamethrower. She then brings out Murkrow, which we connect with a Focus Blast against, cleanly one-shotting it, and last but not least is the annoying Umbreon, which surprisingly we do not miss a single Focus Blast, and we take out the Umbreon, winning us the Elite Four. It is now time for the champion. For the champion Lance, I don't have a great plan. When looking at level up movesets, I never looked at Raw's moveset as an Arcanine. So we're leading with Apollo against his Gyarados to suck up the Intimidate anyway. Lou will not be able to one-shot the Gyarados with a natural gift electric type with the Intimidate drop, so I set up the Sun to weaken the power of the Stab super effective Waterfall, which does very well for us, taking us to 84 HP. The next thing that I'm going to do, of course, is go for Solar Beam because I have no real option. I didn't know what to do. I came into this battle with a little bit of a plan, but plans soon fail. We do crit the Gyarados to one-shot it, and this brings us into the next scary territory, which is Lance's Aerodactyl. It's fast, it has super effective Rock Slide. Oh boy. I don't really know what to do. I'm in a panic at this point with Aerodactyl, but I do decide to swap into Raw to get the Intimidate drop. We get hit with a very hard Rock Slide still, even after -1 from Intimidate down to 79 HP. I then start formulating a plan. This battle took almost 20 minutes to fight, and the reason is I sat here for a long time trying to figure out how exactly I was going to beat Lance. I swap into Inti that hopefully will tank a Rock Slide. It gets hit and it tanks it on 28 HP. I know we're not playing around the critical hit, but we need this low health because now Aerodactyl shouldn't go for Rock Slide. Hopefully it goes for like Aerial Ace, which as we swap out Surya, it sure enough does go for Aerial Ace, which is amazing because it procs our Flame Body ability. That is perfect. Now we can swap back into Raw to get another Intimidate off, and we get hit with a Rock Slide down to 47 HP, but now this thing is at -2 from Intimidate and cut in half from Burn, so what I can do is swap into Lou. I needed to get all these minus attacks to get Lou out because Lou is going to have to tank 2 Rock Slides. Again, we're not playing around the crit, but I don't know what else to do. The first one we tank on 94 HP. Aerodactyl is slowly taking chip damage from Burn, which is great as well. The next Rock Slide takes us down to 52 HP, and we can fire off an Electric type Natural Gift, which is super effective, taking out the Aerodactyl. Whew, that is 2 major threats off the table, but we still have 3 Dragonites and a Charizard in the back. This is where I paused and didn't really know what to do as the Dragonite came out. The events that follow, it's just insane. We swap into Mythra because it has the super effective hidden power dragon, and we get hit with a dragon rush on the swap that takes us all the way down to 17 HP. It does proc our flame body ability, however, that is awesome. There's nothing I can swap into this Dragonite, so I decide to go for Confuse Ray. Dragonite does hurt itself in confusion, which is amazing. The chip damage from hurting itself and the burn damage, I decide to go for hidden power, hoping we can take this thing out, but we leave it on very low red health, just a couple ticks. Luckily for us, the Dragonite hurts itself in confusion, taking itself out, and that is a heck of a showing from Mythra, but unfortunately, as Lance's Ace Dragonite comes out, there's nothing I can do but stay in and fire off one more Confuse Ray before Dragonite breaks through confusion, poetically taking us out with a Fire Blast. That's too bad, but it does allow me to get a clean swap into Surya. Dragonite breaks through confusion to go for Safeguard. I fire off an Ancient Power that does well over half of its health into middle yellow health. Citrus Berry activates, bringing it back up over half. And then Dragonite just hurts itself in confusion, so we can take it out with another Ancient Power. That is 2 of the Dragonites down, 1 to go. The next Dragonite comes out and misses a Dragon Rush, which is huge, and we take it out with a critical hit Ancient Power that also gets the Omni boost. That's the end of the run right there. Charizard comes out and we outspeed it to take it out with a quad stab, super effective Ancient Power, winning us the champion battle with only 1 death. That is absolutely crazy. This run right here took an exorbitant amount of time. There was a ton of grinding that we did, EV training, especially because of the Pokerus. We did a bunch of work at the Pokeathlon to get a Firestone, bunch of work at the Voltorb flip table to get the points that we needed to get the zoom lens and a couple of TMs of Flamethrower. It has been a heck of a ride. The only thing I wish I would have done different with Typhlosion is kept Fire Blast instead of Flamethrower, but other than that, the team has done so well. It is unfortunate that we lost Mythra at the end, but we didn't lose the whole team. So that brings me to a question. I've had a comment before that says, hey, these runs aren't valid unless you do the entirety of Kanto, but at this point I have put almost 2 weeks into this video and it is going to be late. It's going to be late by a week, so there's a week where you guys won't get a video. So if you want to see the second part, let me know in the comment section below and we'll just do a part 2. This will be a part 1 type thing and then we'll do the part 2 of Kanto. A lot of stuff went into this video, and we still have a decent team, so I think we can do the entirety of Kanto, at least get to Red and try to beat him. But technically, with beating the Elite Four, beating Lance, all of those different things, the credits do roll, and that is the end of the run. Once we see the credits, we're done. Everything that happens in Kanto is post-game stuff. That was my argument to the individual that didn't like the comment, but it is the truth nonetheless. As I said, if you guys want to see that, let me know in the comment section below. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. I'm terribly sorry for the lull in videos. This one just took a while to get out because fire types. If you enjoyed the video, you know the routine. Leave a like, leave a comment, consider subscribing to the channel if you're new to it. Thank you so much, and I will see you on the next one.